too? Yeah. Make me smile, why don't you?
Yes, there you go. Hear that going. It's not going to that, but anyway, you're gonna shut this down. Yeah, I forgot. This starts smelling. You know, over here, you know, it's live streaming because it's. Over there, right here, so you bring it more. Oh, who is eating it? Yeah, I'm gonna use over here.
You're sitting next to a dentist.
Retired, are you guys?
Last year.
Yeah, oh, well, thank you. You're welcome. Oh, nice. Covers my teeth. I floss through every day.
Okay, it is live and we do have a quorum. So hopefully Theo would come because I hear about water quality monitoring. But anyway, I'm calling the meeting to order at 5 o'clock.
Did Leslie say she was not coming?
But he said they were not coming.
Not sure when Theo is leaving to do the shark.
Oh, yeah. Right. Sometimes. I do. Anyway. Fortunately, we have quorum. We have more than quorum. How exciting. Okay, so.
Is the
And it-
recording in progress?
It should
They
be,
said it was.
yeah, it said,
Good. So here you need to let somebody in.
oh,
The blue button?
all right. Do you know how?
No, you press the blue button, admit.
Oh, just with my finger?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
there you go.
okay, yes. All right, I think that's it. Between us, we almost know how to do it.
Well.
Okay, so. Any adjustments to the agenda?
Not on my end.
Um,
Yeah.
so Paul is.
This is part of the public speaking, but he has no impact on the agenda.
Public can ask for adjustments.
Do we need to know this person's name?
He's Paul DiMaggio. Can you hear us?
Now we have a face.
I can.
So we did
I
receive.
can hear you.
Oh, well, I don't know what to do about that.
Is there a mute button of some sort on the, you can't hear us.
Was that a yes? You can hear us?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, oh, good.
Oh,
I was-
okay.
You can't, and we didn't know how to deal with that.
Oh, no problem. I'm just turning my speaker, my microphone off so I don't interfere. It just. But I can answer at any point if there's an issue or ask a
Alright.
question.
So you are not on the agenda, and you sent us a message at about 3 this afternoon.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to listen into your meeting and just I thought as I was doing it, I would put some other
Alright.
information in because I think you guys just put in a solar array.
No,
Or no, okay.
wrong committee. That
Oh,
is the
okay.
resilience committee.
Oh, they did a great job. It's wonderful that they're doing that.
Okay, but that's not us.
Okay, my mistake.
All right, so, but you're welcome to listen.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okey doke.
no other adjustments. Review and approval of prior meeting minutes.
I make a motion to approve the prior meeting minutes.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Minutes approved. Old business, Earth Day cleanup. Henry, you were going to bring.
Yes, I have to admit, I ran into May, I just was outside the entire month. I
So we should
No
table-
defense, no defense, yeah, table it for the moment.
We should table that.
All right.
Okay.
Moving on.
I do apologize, just, every moment I had, I've been outdoors, so.
I understand.
Okay, so then updates on the forest preserve. So the big news, and I cannot even remember if we passed it on to the
I think we
commission,
did.
is that we are provisionally approved for the grant.
Yeah.
Yes,
And what's the status of the survey? Do you know?
I'll get there. It's on the list. So what happened is that Catherine and I, thank God, are on the mailing list for the Land Remains Future general public notices. And so we received the general public notice on, I think, the weekend,
Oh, yeah.
saying that they would be having the live presentations for all the Land Remains Future grant applications on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So I called our contact, Jason, and said, we just happened to see this. Are we supposed to be there? He said, yes, we've sent out several announcements. I said, well, I didn't get any of them. And he said, well, we sent them to, and he recited my email address, which was wrong. This kind of explains why every time at every juncture of this process, we've been playing catch up and racing and calling and saying we thought there was going to be an announcement, and they never corrected the email. So Catherine and I threw all of our plans in the trash and arranged to be there. And it was really interesting. We got there, we were able to listen to a bunch of people's presentations, and a lot of these people are asking for like $300,000.
Or-
Yeah,
That's a lot, yeah.
a lot.
Ours was dropped in the box.
Our puny little application. And you're only given 5 minutes to make your pitch, and then 5 minutes for them to ask you questions. And my pitch was almost exclusively, we don't fit your criteria, but you should fund us anyway because we are a really good application. Basically, their primary goal is to glue new pieces of land onto already preserved land. And what we are doing is creating a preserved land in a great area where there is no other preserved land, but there are other pieces that we hope to add on to it so that it would be what they call an anchor parcel. And in the application instructions, they said, well, you can describe being an anchor parcel, but you don't get any score for it. So that's what we did. And
Sandra, I witnessed it, told them, well, you're not giving points for that, but you should.
anyway,
It
so
worked.
it seems to have worked.
So you really literally only had 5 minutes?
5
to
minutes.
present? Like,
But they had read, all the board had read.
Yeah, they had received the applications already,
Yeah.
so they were just asking, you know, they wanted you there to make a last pitch, you know, what you felt was essential, and then if they had questions. And overall, I mean, their questions were pretty easy questions to everybody.
Truly.
So
One question was, well, hunting isn't allowed. And I could say, oh, yes, it is.
How much was the grant for?
It's 67,000.
67, okay.
Entire purchase.
This.
67,000.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the selectmen have been informed.
Oh, yeah.
They must be rather happy about that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Good,
I mean,
thank you.
it's provisional, the key
Yes.
is provisional.
And it's a big provisional. We have a whole lot of things we have to do. Starting with the survey, which is ongoing. But then we have to get clear title, which we did not entirely have because the Klein property was a quitclaim deed. But the issues were that they didn't have a survey.
Yeah.
And the other
problematic thing that the attorney noted was that it was landlocked, but it isn't landlocked anymore because it's now attached to this property by the same owner, which is us.
Right.
So hopefully getting clear title will not be an issue, getting title insurance based on clear title. Appraisal. Catherine, I just sent you something that a friend just sent me about, anyway, we have to figure out what appraiser to go with and what kind of money we're talking about.
I got John, so you didn't get that, I'll forward that email. He got a list of yellow book appraisers. And, you know, the names go all the way to Massachusetts,
Yeah.
Portland, yeah, there is nobody apparently locally
Right.
habilitated to do a yellow book appraisal, so we're going, you know, and we'll figure out who to
Yes,
call.
so, yes.
Could you buy a yellow book?
Oh, Yellow Book is this thing the federal government has dreamed up, which is an excruciatingly complicated appraisal process where you have to have an appraiser who has gone through their particular kind of training and
Betting.
vetting. And then you have to have a second person who's had that training and vetting to review their appraisal and say that, yes, I agree with it. All of this makes it extremely time consuming and expensive. But it is you have to do it if you want any federal grant money. And when we get to the trail building stage, we will be wanting to apply for federal money.
Right.
So,
This is a step we have to take for the grant that we have the conditional approval for, but it's information that
right.
will be useful in the future, right?
Right, a lot of it. And then we also have to have an environmental hazards assessment. And if anything is turned up, we have to resolve the hazards. And we have to work out an agreement with Land Remains Future. Or I guess it's with our sponsoring agency, which is
Recreation.
Parks and Recreation. Anyway, and there's probably a few that I've missed, so we're going to be very busy.
They want the
Going to need
forest
to
plan
raise
as
money.
well, they want a 10-year plan, yeah.
So the money that we need to expend to jump through the hoops, that's money that we have to raise through municipal before we get the grant?
Well, we have 20,000 that I persuaded the select board to put in.
So it needs to be voted yes on the budget.
Yes, but they jolly well better, or we're wasting our time
Right.
on this whole
So
thing.
the question being, do you want to put X number of money aside in order to go get the grant and completely cover the cost of the property we bought, right? Okay.
And we got some donations and a
Mhm.
grant, so there was a grant that came in to pay for the survey.
Yeah.
That's taken, you know, pretty much taken
Right, so
care
that's
of.
covered.
And so did you, have you had time to review your letter with John?
Well, what I did was, when we found out that instead of waiting heaven knows how long, they were gonna be making a decision. What was that, first week in, or last week in May or whatever, it was right before I was leaving town. So I wrote to the select board and said, hold off on the letter I've sent you. Because it's within a week, we will either know that we've got the grant, and then we have to revise the letter to say that, or we didn't get the grant, and then the whole thing is right.
That's a different one.
It's a totally different letter. Well, it would be moot because the money that had been donated was for the cost of the land. And if we didn't get the grant, we would need that money for
Right.
the cost of the land. So then, actually, while I was on vacation, I sent a revised draft. And I gather, and I haven't had time to listen to it yet, that at the select board meeting, John said he'd like a couple changes to that
Yes.
letter. So, and I haven't had time to see what those are.
And one of them was the detail, it was regarding who to contact for questions, and he wanted all the communication to go through Terry.
That's
And
fine,
that's
whatever
was
they
an
want.
easy change.
That would be,
And the first change was, I think, a typo or something.
Oh,
you know, so.
so they're little.
Yeah, very little. So as far, I've not checked, but you may want to check with Terry. Maybe she did those two correction and it went out, so I don't know. Well,
Okay.
that's all it needed, so. you
Oh,
know.
all right, well, we'll see, I'll see what the
Yeah,
status is.
And so this letter is sent to the people who had donated money originally when we did the first appeal to help defray the cost of the land, but now that we got the whole, potentially the whole cost of the land paid to us through the Land for a Future grant, we're asking the people who donated money if they would agree to have us repurpose their donation to pay for the hoops that we have to jump through to really get the money.
Yeah.
So, and I don't anticipate anybody saying no.
Yeah, it's not gone out.
It should, yeah, I mean,
Right, it should be, but you have to ask them because
Right.
they gave it for a specific purpose and we can't change it without.
so if you make a donation and you just get the letter, it means it has not come out. And I made a donation, but I told Terry that I'm fine with
Oh, okay.
changing it.
All right,
So I don't
so,
know if
yeah,
I'll-
I need to check that.
Yeah.
I also. I got a letter from Marie McNulty at Georges River Land Trust, and I think she sent it to you also saying. You need, please coordinate with Georges River Land Trust. With a press release saying you got the grant.
I never received that letter. She,
Oh, you had the wrong email. She
yeah,
had the
same
wrong
thing,
email.
another one who kept getting the wrong email address. I mean, that was the second time I was asking her.
Right, so, but anyway, we need to get back to Marie.
The only
and-
one that falls, the wrong person picks it up,
Yeah.
we get the wrong number.
Right, so we need to coordinate that with the select board and with the land trust. It's interesting because she was adamant that they are not a partner in this. They're merely somebody we're consulting.
So why do they want to coordinate?
Well,
Good, no, good press, good press.
I think for them to do it is for them to commit to help us when we need it, so that's.
And I think they
Or
said
at least a
before,
willingness.
you know, I've never had a no from them. Every time you ask somebody, they
Yeah.
are more than happy to
Yeah.
help, so. I think she was just being careful with respect to their board, you know,
Mhm.
not, but. You know, why would they refuse to get, you know, involved in conserving land? That's what it's all about, so.
Right, and I think right now they're having so much turnover
Yeah,
that,
You
That's
know,
an
in the Georges River Land Trust.
Yeah. so, Annette Nagel retired and she was like, she was the one who made it all happen in terms of conserving land and helping local communities with how they had to do it. She's the one who helped us do the first round of grant application. You know, and she even, after she retired, when we were getting close
Yeah.
to the finish, I asked if she would review our final round application, and she did, and she gave some very important, helpful suggested changes.
extremely knowledgeable, and our good fortune so far is that she has not moved to Florida.
I don't think she's,
Perfect for it.
yeah, right, I don't think she's a Florida person. Anyway,
As
so,
far as the,
and also, we are working on getting another quote from a forester. Catherine has been in communication, he keeps coming back with these picky little questions before he can move on, but maybe,
I copied you, right, in my latest?
Yeah. yeah,
And his role would be what?
to help us design a 10-year management plan.
So the forester, you know, before we started all this, we had the district forester come. And they are very knowledgeable and it's a free resource. But they can only help you essentially understand what you have to do.
Mhm.
And then to get it done, you need to call a forester that you're going to have to retain and pay. And they will essentially walk the land and map it in terms of, levels and so forth, but also tree species, stands, health of trees, invasive species and all kinds of things. And eventually help with locating trails where, you know, it would be damaging and so forth. And they also give us option if we decide to cut some trees, you know, where it could be cut, it could like open up an area for an activity and at the same time generate a little money, but that's all up to us, obviously, you know, we'll have to decide whether we want to cut anything unless it's, you know, disease that would damage other trees, but so, I mean, they do big work, and she said, you know, and we got an estimate from a first forester to do this, and it's a, you know, per acre fee. As opposed to this person I'm talking to, which is a per hour fee, which is, you know,
Right.
riskier. And Maren Granstrom, a young woman who took over for a very well respected forester for this area, is the one who gave us the estimate already. And she can do that plan, and then she offered to do another one for, you see, an additional fee that would relate to birding, like the, you know, what kind of birds.
Habitat.
Yeah.
But that's something different than the forestry.
Yeah, just, you know, mapping the forest with the trees, the stands and so forth, that's one part, and that's the required one, so.
Mhm.
You know, in the first time, I assume we're gonna limit ourselves to that part.
Well, I mean, it depends on. If
Unless
it
somebody
doesn't cost
pays.
a whole lot and we
Yeah, it's
have
double the
money,
cost
it-
of the original.
it would be good to know.
Yeah, no, but she said that, she tells you, like, it's a per hour, you know, per acre fee,
Mhm.
so, you know, the birding thing would be nice, but unless somebody donates specifically for that purpose, it's not required,
Okay,
so.
Okay, and the forester is required
For
for the
the,
grant
yes,
as well as the survey.
yes,
well, the plan is required, and the best way we've figured to do it is to have a forester help us.
well,
Is
we
there a
don't,
timeline? Just
well, every year essentially, you know,
in the sense of being, the grant being contingent upon,
yes.
okay,
And so the, you know, survey, almost check, then it's the yellow book appraisal. Then it's the environmental hazard thing, and then
But
the,
those don't have to. We could do those simultaneously.
yes, but it's like, again, money and stuff. And
Well, we
then,
wanna be sure
The
we line them
forester.
all up, and
Yeah.
a lot of these, there's only a limited number of people who can do
Right.
it, so we need to be in touch with them and get on their calendars.
and for this appraisal and forester, they need to have the survey, so that's why we're waiting for the survey to be completed.
Right, it's sort of, it is the thing that we really have to do before anything else.
And the environmental hazard report is done by.
By,
different person.
Yeah, definitely by, I would say, a state agency or something, no?
Yeah, I don't have that note, but there's,
I don't think that most of that land's been never used for anything other than.
well,
Pot growing,
Yeah,
tire dumping.
well, we do know it has been logged, we do know there's a gravel pit. So there has been, and then older, there's a quarry.
right,
But there has never been any construction like
Right.
chemicals or
Yeah.
anything else.
And
as the,
I hope we don't get any, Bad
is the
surprises.
selectman's office taking care of the warrant article to raise the money,
no,
as far as writing it goes
it's
for?
not a warrant article, this
Oh.
would be fundraising. This would be outreach to the community.
I think you said something earlier.
About
There's
20.
no, there's already in the budget that will be voted on, $20,000.
Oh, into the Conservation Commission's budget?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so it's earmarked for a specific
Yes.
purpose.
Earmarked for the preserve.
Okay, So
We
that's
just
when
need to
it-
get the town.
So
vote.
please
so
vote
that gets
yes.
discussed underneath our budget.
Well, it won't really get discussed, my experience with town meetings, because they just ram the budget
But
through.
anything over $150, you know.
So, besides, it comes at the end and they're all tired, they just want to get out. there.
Wow, thank you for saving it at the bell there, both of you.
Mhm.
Seriously, thank you very much.
Hopefully they have my correct email, and now they've even been sending me some snail mail, that's all very nice. Oh,
So
and
a
on the
question,
survey,
something
just
I'm not
one
sure.
other little thing is that John talked to Nate Beal, he just ran into him and Nate said he's nearly done. This was back in June 6th, but he's having trouble with his GPS and he's about to go out of town. So he hopes he could resolve it before he left town, but we'll have to find out.
Okay.
Now I'm done.
Do we report results as we get them? Like, once the survey is complete, do we
Up to you.
notify LMF
I think so. I think
Yeah.
they want to keep,
progress? Yeah.
it will comfort them
Yeah.
to see
To
that
know
they're
that we're
moving
working.
along. And they're theoretically available to help, but when they sent the letter saying, you know, you need to do all this other stuff, they also sent a caveat saying we're understaffed, because they also had a bunch of people retire.
This is that. Wait.
Land Remains Future. They're down several people, so they're gonna have to, they said, prioritize what help they give to whom. Hopefully, we won't need a lot of help from them. But we can also turn to both St. George and Alfred, which have gone through this drill before
Yes.
and can help us.
Something that surprised me when we went to Augusta for the presentation is, when we submit the application, they make a big deal on the application that, they don't like pre-acquired land, and it turns out most cases were pre-acquired lands. So, it's I found that very odd.
Well, I think they try their best to say, you shouldn't be buying this land without us having,
But it's too complicated with such a
Oh,
heavy
and-
administration, yeah.
oh, yeah.
Mhm.
So fortunately, they are willing to eat their words and give grants to pre-acquired land.
Can we use the $20,000 that's in the budget? That's apparently being voted on next week. For the surveying and the,
All the
the
time.
forester.
We won't need it for the survey because we got a separate grant for that. It's paid for. We can use it for appraisal and this other stuff,
Mitigation, right?
yes.
And then,
And the idea will be to send out another letter, but I think so much else is going on that I won't even try until after town meeting. Again, now telling the whole community that we did get provisionally approved and we do need money to actually fully qualify for the grant. And hopefully people will respond generously.
and what is happening too is that for the forester plan, for instance, Maren who talked to us was very nice, saying, again, you can get grant to help pay for that. They are typically matching grants, so we need 50% to show. So having the money in the account obviously will help, and every donation that came in can, we need to start keeping the accounting about, which donation was applied to which grant, because you cannot double dip, count the same donation for two different grants, but, so, so that will help cover all those costs, but in the end, if we want to have nice trails, that's gonna be the costly part. And, here, obviously donation in kind will be important as well.
And another thing just to keep in mind is that we got the full amount of the purchase price based on counting the assessed value, because the assessed value was like between 3 and 4 times the purchase price. So we were able to count that, but that's tentative. What will ultimately count is the appraised value. And should the appraised value not be at least double the purchase price, we will have to come up with more match. Got that? Is that clear? So
No comment.
that's down the road because we don't have an appraisal. We're considerable. You look like you might have a question.
No, I was just thinking this might not happen.
Okay, so appraisal survey, forester letters. That's all I had on the preserve. Next item was update on water quality monitoring, and unless John is able to tell us anything.
Um. The first sampling has been done, and it was done successfully.
Do you have a date?
What's that?
What date?
Oh, it was last Tuesday, possibly.
Tuesday.
If I knew I was gonna be reporting, I would.
Sorry.
But it was last week.
Okay.
And Theo has divided it into, for most sampling dates, divided it into two pieces, some that are coming out on the sort of the Rockland side of the marsh, and others that are coming up, from here towards the airport. So there are 5 or 6 different sites, and we're looking at adding one more, tentatively looking at the stream crossing that is on Waterman's Beach Road. Because we don't have anything on that side. And that sort of drains that whole area behind. And, there's.
How long did it take?
How long did it take?
Good.
To do our 2 sites on the other side, right at the marsh itself, and then,
In the big village there,
well, if you're going, if you're at the marsh, I'm not sure the name of the road, but
Dublin Road.
it could be, it heads sort of back into Rockland. There's another crossing.
Yeah, no, that's the Rockland Road. You go past the llama place.
Yeah, you go
Oh,
past.
Right, and
Oh,
then you
yeah, so it's
take
on
your first right,
Buttermilk.
right
Correct,
there.
yeah,
right?
that's the.
Yes.
On Buttermilk Road, you take the right.
Yeah.
You say that's a Dublin Road.
No,
No.
Dublin is right at the intersection.
No, that's called the Rockland Road.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
pretty
and
sure,
that's,
right.
and there's a stream crossing there that goes into the marsh.
Yeah, that's what she was talking about when we were at the instruction, right?
And that, to do those 2 sites was about 45 minutes. I
Okay.
would assume it would be similar to do, 45 minutes to an hour to
Okay.
do the other sites.
Oh, so we also should note that the instruction happened.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, that was at the Gilpin Club. They had that.
right.
Yes.
And we
So
have
we should just
2 new
reflect that.
monitor machine.
Yeah.
How many people did the training?
People think we're there, George, maybe 7.
Maybe, yeah, I was gonna go a little 10 or around 10, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
there were also the 2 instructors, so.
And then we'll,
Yeah, do you have an idea when the next one is because of tides?
no,
No,
it's
okay,
gonna be, when we have the dates, we'll look at where the high tide is, and it's going to be anywhere from an hour to an hour to 3 hours after high tide.
right. Yeah, as long as, if you look at, say, 2 hours to do the whole thing, as long as they can be done by 11 o'clock any morning.
Okay.
Did I read?
But you need to be done by 11.
I'd like to be, because that's when I open the gallery, but, the world's not gonna fall apart if it's 45 minutes late.
Thank you.
Yeah, so when you get the date, right, and but if they ever do evening ones, 7 o'clock, because it stays light pretty late, pretty good for any evening.
Okay, good. Thank you.
I just wanted to underscore that a change that occurred between the draft and the revised minutes was that I added in the quote from, is it our statute, ordinance or bylaws, I forget, let me see. Ordinance, which specifies that we cannot go on private property without the permission of the owner, even to walk across it, even just to park on it. That we have to have written permission from the owner, and we need to notify the owner in advance every time we're going to go on their property. So at the last meeting, that wasn't clear, and Theo was saying, as a courtesy, we'll tell them. Well, it's not as a courtesy, it is a mandate. And I just want that to be really clear, because people get very upset if anyone shows up on their land that they didn't know about and didn't authorize.
What would be considered notification? You have to, because if you have to do it every time.
Well, if the
In
dates were
advance, you
known,
need
yeah.
to get explain to them that what you're going to be doing in roughly the period.
Right.
It's only like 8 weeks or something.
Right.
During this period, during high tide, or is it high tide you're?
Yeah.
We would like to come onto your land, cross your land, whatever it is, to do water quality monitoring.
I'm trying to.
And
think if
We need
actually-
your permission to do it. If you don't give permission, we cannot use this site. And every time we're coming, we will give you notice.
I'm trying to think there is one site where we park,
Mhm,
you know, in somebody's parking area.
right, and
But otherwise, and Theo said she has had permission from the owner there, but otherwise we park on the side of the road and climb over a guardrail, and I can't imagine we're on anybody's private land.
are you crossing private property when you get to the water?
No, not that
You're probably,
Okay.
if you're going to a culvert, you're more than likely in the right of way of the road.
Right,
But, so those are fine, but if you're parking on or walking over or standing on the property to do the actual testing, the ordinance requires this.
But it's the fact that you have to notify them every time that you're gonna do it. So they give you permission at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and
And
what,
then you're gonna do one in August. So you gotta tell them August 8th, we're gonna be there on the 8th of August. You tell them that towards the end of July.
You can do it either way, if you know the dates in advance, you can
yes,
send
one
one
blanket
notice.
one, yeah.
Okay, so you can get blanket
Oh, no.
acceptance for the season.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, but they need to know
I mean, that's what
what
the
dates we're gonna show up.
Yeah.
Theo said she would check the tides, you know, they are very known.
Right,
Yeah.
so,
And so then every date and time will be known, so then, you know, you can write the letter
Yeah.
once.
Cool, okay.
right. But we don't need to get a black eye because we missed this important step. And that's. The last thing is just on the presentation to the Historical Society. Which went very well, if I do say so. I think, I think they enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Kathy Florence. Wrote me that she'd gotten a lot of positive feedback, that people liked it, so.
Thank you. Oh, that's good.
perfect. Are we done?
I have, a question, and it's something that is probably not in our bailiwick, but nobody seems to be doing anything about it. Is the Manco Seafood on Island Road has sort of been abandoned. And
Really?
and there's all this stuff in water there, just there were generators, somebody took the generator out, but there's a lot of trash in the water. In that pound, and I think used to be a lobster pound. And there is a large diesel fuel tank with hoses hanging in the water that,
Where's that?
if you're
It
going
would
out
be
on
on-
Island Road.
On
you-
Spruce Head.
on
Yeah,
Spruce-
okay.
Spruce Head Island. On the left, right before the bridge.
Sure.
There's, a commercial.
Yeah.
It used to be much more active
Yeah.
until it was recently. Now it seems to be abandoned since the storm. They had a lot of storm damage with, the wharfs being torn apart.
Yeah.
Everything was just left there. And there is a fuel tank with hoses going out to the destroyed dock. And nobody seems to be
Okay.
doing anything.
You may want to check with Terry. I think this property may have been discussed a couple times already during select board meetings. And they, other neighbors have complained, obviously, and there is a process, unfortunately, that's slow, that has to be followed. And I think the town is at the stage of sending official letters, but in the meantime, it's sure that if there is any pollution going on, that's not a good thing, and that should be remediated quickly. So I just don't know what, again, because we are not authorized to go on private property. But if Terry being the code enforcement officer could do it, or if we must have recourse to DEP, Department of Environmental Protection.
Or Terry could have recourse to DEP.
Yes, and this, to at
So
least,
they just, rather, it's not something that this committee should have. anything to do with.
no, well, we
Well,
are
it's
made
good to
aware of
be
it,
aware of it,
yes,
but-
we are aware of it, and we can definitely supplement and insist on the urgency of some actions being taken to at least remedy any ongoing pollution.
Okay.
So, yes, so who is going to contact Terry about this?
I can do that.
Okay, good,
Great.
thank you.
Now,
Yeah,
is that-
I think,
would that
I
be,
think the more agitation about it, to escalate and get some action. the
Yeah,
better.
express your concern about the ongoing pollution and that if that could be remedied.
Do we want him to represent it as the concern of the board?
Yeah, of the
Okay, I just want to
conservation,
clear that up.
conservation commission,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
So
commission,
should
yeah.
we want to take a vote on it, just so that it's
yes. I
clear?
make the motion that John initiates communication with Terry to inquire about
On our
remediating.
behalf.
Yeah, on the behalf of the conservation.
I'll
commission.
second it.
All in favor?
All right.
Thank you.
It's official.
I will do
You're
that.
the envoy, official envoy.
Well, and then let us know what transpires and if there's
I
any
will.
more we can help with.
Yeah.
All right, anything else?
No,
Without objection, meeting is adjourned.
okay, thank you.
You have your wish. Catherine wanted to be out of here as early as possible.
Hey, record.
So I didn't actually just sort of forget to do that. I was being nice to you the whole time.
Okay, now we have more on this.
All right, people, so, merci, yeah, wonderful time.
I'm going out in July. There's actually an Aurora. To a symposium, I'm gonna be doing a lecture there.
So where are you now?
Right across from the Strand Theater.
Well, I think
Oh, okay.
Stop it.
I will. What's the name of the gallery?
this,
Spencer.
Okay.
actually,
Directly across the street.
you